Choosing Home by ginnyrules27, Chapter 3. The VKs quickly parked the limo and scurried into Evie's castle. Yes, Evie's castle. Apparently the amount she made from making dresses for girls to wear to cotillion was enough that she could make a down payment for a place of her and her father to live. And Dizzy, of course, but that went without saying. "Whoa, where's the fire?" Daniel asked as the group scurried past him. The older man was walking out of the gym as he finished up with his physical therapy. While she didn't like to sweat, Evie did like staying in shape for cheerleading after all, and the gym came in handy for Daniel as well. "Hey, Daniel." Mal nodded as they stopped to look at him. Dizzy's just really excited to see Evie. Have you seen her around?"
"Last I checked, she and Doug were in her studio."
Daniel nodded, giving the smaller redhead a small smile. While he had never met Dizzy before, Evie had talked about her enough that he felt like he knew all about her. Plus, it was a logical guess. Evie always said that Dizzy was a girl, so the two blonde boys couldn't be her. While there were 3 other girls in the group with Mal, the way Evie talked about Dizzy, it always made her sound like she was a younger girl, thus eliminating the darker-haired girl and Uma. After that it was a 50-50 pick, and Daniel was just lucky he picked right. "Who's the dude?" the other young girl muttered to Uma.
"Blueberry's father,"
Uma muttered back, and Daniel shook his head at the nickname. "Thanks, Daniel," Mal nodded before the older man could say anything, and the group scurried into the Evie's 4 Hearts studio, not bothering to knock. "Dizzy!" Evie squealed as she saw the younger girl, having looked towards the doorway upon hearing the other VKs rush into her studio like a herd of elephants. Estelle lifted up his head and gave Mal a doggy grin as Celia grinned and walked over to him, scratching the Cerberus. "Evie!" Dizzy grinned and ran into the blue-haired girl's waiting arms. "Oh, I'm so happy to see you! Am I really living here with you in your own castle?" Evie waved her hand as if to brush off that fact. "It's just a starter castle. But, Mal, what's wrong? I thought I was meeting you guys back at Ben's castle." "Yeah, what's wrong?" Hattie asked, looking excited to see Mal. Though that could have been because it was a break from whatever fashion design Evie was foisting on him. Mal sighed. "We had a bit of an incident on the bridge on the way back. And Evie, what have you foisted upon my brother?" "What kind of incident? And you really thought I'd be watching him without taking the opportunity to give him a suit fitting for your wedding?" "The wedding that's years away? You can never be too careful, you know." Before Mal could answer, Doug spoke up from where he stood on his stool.
Mal, the incident you had didn't happen to involve Audrey wielding Maleficent's scepter, did it?"
"You know, funnily enough it did." "How do you know that?"
"Because I think I see her,"
Doug said. Sure enough, a figure that looked like Audrey came strolling down the path, with another figure walking in step with her.
"No, it can't be."
Mal rolled her eyes. "Guys, it's pretty obvious that's Freddy from the outfit alone. So now we know who helped him break out of his cell. Gods, that I thought today could just get better and better."
"We confronting them, or are we batting down the hatches?"
Harry asked. "I vote confronting," Hattie said as Estelle yipped in agreement. "Not all of us are going to confront them." Mal shook her head. "Evie, you and Doug stay here with the new kids and Hattie. One of you try to call Ben again. I don't care what you need to do. Call, text, email, carrier pigeon, but just get in contact with him. Jay, Uma, Harry, Harriet, you're with me." Estelle gave a small yip and walked over to Mal, as if asking her what his group would be. Mal gave him a sad smile and bent down. "You don't know what Maleficent's scepter would do to you, boy," she said softly. "I need you to stay here and protect the pups, all right?" Estelle snorted as if in disbelief, but nodded his left head. "Good boy," Mal said as she straightened up, double-checking that her sword was secured to her belt. Looking at her group, she nodded. "Let's go." The 5 VKs walked through the door of Evie's studio, the blue-haired girl quickly closing it behind them. Mal wasn't even angry at that. The safety of the younger kids was more important. "You lost, Freddy. You're awfully far from the aisle." she stated, trying to keep her mind focused.
Yeah, Freddie, you look about as lost as a fart in a fan factory,
Uma called, glaring at the older boy. Ah, Mal, you see, a man like myself doesn't belong on the Isle. Freddie smirked before turning to Harriet. Uma, as eloquent as always. And why am I not surprised to see you in Borodon, Harriet? Though I must say, in the light of the sun, you do look quite ravishing. Maybe you'd like to find out what it's like to be with a real man, instead of those filthy rats. Not interested, Freddie, Harriet scoffed. But if you want another face full of water like when we were kids, I'm sure that can be arranged.
Oh, it most certainly can.
Uma nodded as Jay rested a hand on Harry's shoulder, as if holding back the younger Hook offspring from attacking Freddie right then and there. Which, had it just been Freddie, Jay would have had no issue with that. But Freddie had allied himself with someone who was wielding Maleficent's scepter. That was the most powerful item known to the Isle and to Auradon. The only thing more powerful was Lord Hades's ember, and that was just because it was a possession of a god. Audrey, why are you messing with the dragon's scepter? Mal asked, not paying attention to Harry or Jay. It's dangerous.
Honestly, she's like if the lost and found became a person,
Uma muttered to Harry, who bit back a snort of amusement. Maybe I want to be dangerous, Mal, Audrey snapped, ignoring the commentary in the background. Maybe I want what you have. A reputation where no one will call you out as you drive Auradon deeper into ruin. You stole everything from me. Auradon turned its back on me. And you think teaming up with Freddie Frollo is going to change that? Mal asked, more than a little shocked. She knew the other girl was a lot to handle at times, and had a screaming volume that could burst eardrums according to Ymir and Akiho, but she was still good, right? Ben wouldn't have stayed friends with her if she wasn't a good person deep down. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. It's Fred! Freddie growled slightly, and then smirked. Then again, I guess you would know all about not wanting to be called by a certain name. Maleficent. Mal rolled her eyes. Bit behind the times, Freddie. It's Melinda. How did you even know about that? It's been a rather educational 2 months, Freddie said with a smirk. Audrey here graciously informed me of what I missed during Beastie Jr.'s coronation, when I was trying to take advantage of the hole in the barrier.
How were you even able to watch the coronation? The only places with a TV are the Dragon's Castle, Lord Hades' restaurant, and my mum's shop. Uma growled out. You're banned from 2 of those places, and I don't think you'd willingly cozy up to the dragon. Though, in all honesty, I'm not so sure, considering there's a tree stump in a swamp with a higher IQ than you.
Freddie chuckled. You forget, Uma. Hell Hall also has a television. How appropriate for you. Mal muttered, thankful Carlos was off with Roger and Anita, so he wouldn't hear about Freddie invading his home. Granted, the pup hated Hell Hall, but it was the principle of the thing, really. You certainly belong in hell. Meanwhile, Jay was still trying to restrain Harry from attacking Freddie, and possibly being blasted by the scepter. Harry, snap out of it, Harriet snapped, noticing the one that Mal called Audrey back on the bridge walk away and turn around. We've got bigger problems.
Bigger problems than teaching this witch boy to stay away from my sisters?
Harry growled. He still remembered the comment Freddie had made about CJ back when she was 13, after all.
Jay, let me go. Harry, she's right,
Jay muttered as he noticed Mal and Audrey facing off as well. Auradon's going to pay for what they did, Audrey vowed. But first...
Mal, duck!
Jay shouted, but the cry came too late, as Mal could only hold her arms up to protect her face, as she was hit with a blast of pink light. When it faded, an old beggar woman stood in Mal's place. Think Ben will love you now, you old hag? Audrey taunted.
Actually, yes! Yes, he will, Uma snarled. Ben's not as shallow as you are, Audrey. Just as Ben's looks don't matter to Mal, Mal's looks don't matter to him either.
Oh? Well, maybe I should take a little visit to Benny Boo, so he can see what a true queen's supposed to look like. Audrey said with a smirk. You don't touch Ben! Mal cried with as much force as her now feeble, cracking voice could muster. Freddie smirked. You know, I thought this would be too tame at first, but I think this is a vast improvement over how she looked previously.
Okay, anyone think Audrey's got Freddie under some kind of spell?
Harry asked.
Normally he'd be crying about witchcraft and how we're all going to hell for being around witches.
Audrey, though, could only smirk at Mal. Oh? And what are you going to do about it, Mal? Drool on me? I'm not going to touch Benny Boo. Once he realizes who he's supposed to be with, he'll come crawling back to me.
No, he won't,
Uma scoffed. Well, we'll just see about that, Audrey smirked. See ya, suckers! On that note, she and Freddie disappeared in a cloud of pink smoke, just as the doors to Evie's studio opened and Evie and Doug rushed out.
I couldn't get Ben, but I got a Keo and a Mir, which is basically the same thing,
Doug said, and then paused.
Why is there an old lady just standing there?
It's Mal,
Harriet told him. Explain.
Audrey zapped her.
That wasn't really an explanation, and yet I feel all caught up.
Uma rolled her eyes and then turned to Mal.
Mal, are you alright? Come on, let's get you to the aisle.
No! Someone needs to call Ben and let him know Audrey's coming,
Mal said softly. I'll do that, Evie said, looking at Uma with a nod of her head.
Yeah, Mal, we need to call in the big guns.
Jay nodded as well.
We're going to need all the help we can get.
Uma nodded. Right. I'm reaching out to Aunt Steph right now.
Harriet, I want you here with Celia, Dizzy and the others. Gods, there aren't enough curse words in the world to satisfy me right now. And I can't say them because of the kids.
What about Eddie?
Your mum wants him on Olympus,
Uma stated, and Mal nodded.
He won't be happy about that,
Doug stated.
He can be as unhappy as he wants to be, as long as my little cousin is safe,
Uma stated, crossing her arms.
Doug, you and Evie keep trying to reach out to Ben. I want you speaking to him. Shadows don't count this time. Harry, Jay, you guys are with me as we get Mal back to normal.
Aye, Captain.
Harry and Jay nodded. Good. Go get the bikes,
Uma stated, and then sighed. How she wished she had her crew of 19 to work with. But at least they were safe behind the barrier. Huh. How ironic. The barrier that they had all hated all their lives was now the only saving grace about the Isle.
We'll get you back to your normal self in no time, Co-Captain,
Harry stated, and then turned to his sister.
Harriet, you all right?
I'm fine, Harry, Harriet told them. I'll stay here with the kids. You help Mal.
On it, Captain.
Come on, Mal. Let's get you into something fabulous, Evie said, and Uma rolled her eyes.
We don't have time.
You see that cape shawl thing she's in now? That catches on the chain of her bike and Mal goes flying, Evie stated, crossing her arms. I've got Mal's outfit ready. It'll take 5 minutes, Uma.
Fine, if only because I don't want to risk Mal's safety as future queen,
Uma stated, and went to help Mal back into the house. I'm not going!
Oh, God, just one cousin being normal today. Is that too much to ask? Uma muttered, and looked over at Evie. You got her?
Go on. Evie nodded, and Uma rushed over to where Haddie was glaring at.
Macaria?
Uma exclaimed, and the brunette looked over and smiled at Uma. Hey, Uma! I take it you're the one who asked for me to gather up my little cousin here?
Macaria asked. Sure did, Uma nodded. You godlings might want to take shelter on Olympus. It's going to get nasty very soon.
I'm not going, Hattie declared. I have only one uncle, and it's not the one who made it so my dad was alone for 6 months.
Uma sighed and bent down so she was at Hattie's eye level. Listen here, Stormcloud. I know you probably saw what went down between Audrey and Mal outside. The last thing she needs to do is worry about you getting hurt.
I don't care, Uma. I'm not letting Audrey hurt Alex, or Celia, or Dizzy,
Hattie said, crossing his arms over his chest, and Uma had to hide a small smile. Celia is more than capable of looking after herself, she said. Plus, she can protect Dizzy, along with Harriet, and the Charmette has 3 older siblings who'll be looking out for her. She'll be fine.
But you don't know that, Uma. Audrey always taunted Alex about being 4th in line for her throne, and she's dating Chad, you know? What if she...
First off, Sleeping Brat was dating Chad, but they broke up, Uma stated. Second of all, Charming Jr. may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but if there's one thing I'm sure about, it's that he cares about his little sisters.
How do you know?
It's an older sibling thing, Uma told him, ruffling his blue hair and earning a squawk of annoyance from Hattie. Think about it this way, Hats. You'll finally be able to give Zeus grief for Uncle Hades.
Apparently, she had said the right words as Hattie seemed to perk up at the thought. Fine, he said, but only to give Zeus hell. But when I get back, you all have got to...
You're under 15, Stormcloud. You're going to be treated like a baby, as you put it. If CJ or Ryan were here, they'd be treated the same way.
Hattie rolled his eyes but walked over to Macaria. You be careful, Macaria said to Uma. You need anything. Olympus will stand with you.
The last time a god of the Isle needed Olympus to stand with them, it didn't go the way they wanted, Uma stated. Her aunt had told her and Mal the story about how Zeus refusing to help so many times that Uma could recite it in her sleep.
I'm not my grandfather, Macaria told her. Besides, you're family. Family sticks together. On that note, Hattie and her vanished in a clap of lightning, just as Evie and Mal came back. I didn't get to say goodbye?
No time, Uma stated, and looked over at Mal. Nice outfit.
Mal smiled. It really was a nice outfit. A purple and black leather number with her purple boots, and of course shoulder sleeves that looked like wings.
We'll be back, Uma told Evie. I don't get self-service on the Isle, so if you need help, call Macaria, okay?
Go on, Evie said. The sooner you go, the sooner you'll be back, and we can plan out the attack against Audrey and Freddie.
I have to say, I like this not dumb blueberry. Looks good.
Uma smirked, and turned to help Mal get onto her bike. She had an uncle to visit after all. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I like that chapter. Freddie and Audrey being all smarmy is horrible, but I like the rest of it. Them all taking charge, making sure Mal's okay, and Uma and Evie battling down the hatches, Macaria coming in when she's needed, Hattie being so loyal, and of course Jay having to hold back Harry because that's becoming a frigging meme in this. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.